everyone. My name is Sarah Schickman. I'm the managing partner here at Lengea Law, and this video is about how to start a med spa in Tennessee. Here at Lengea, we work with lots of med spa owners who are looking to start a med spa, restructure their med spa, sell their med spa, get investors, all different types of things. And joining me on this Zoom is Mallory, who's one of my associates. And she will tell you about herself. She has a great background and has been doing healthcare law for a long time.
Thanks, Sarah. Yep, my name is Mallory Farrar. I've been practicing healthcare for about 7 years, and that includes the full scope from small private practices to hospital systems to research institutes and now to med spas, which is a space that I've really enjoyed getting to know and really love working with, especially our clients. They're just amazing entrepreneurs and on a mission to help people feel better about themselves.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about med spas in Tennessee. What is a med spa?
The Tennessee has a specific definition for what is a med spa. In fact, in 2015, they passed a law requiring medical spas to register with the state. So along with that came some definitions and a little bit of more context of how the state's viewing it. So in Tennessee, a medical spa is a medical practice that offers cosmetic medical services. The state of Tennessee considers a cosmetic medical service to be any type of thing that would either use synthetic or biological, pulse light, chemical applications, et cetera, to alter or damage living tissue, or a modality that is capable of doing so. So if you're performing anything like that in your space, which pretty much would encompass everything you would do in a med spa, you'd be considered a medical spa that would be required to register with the state.
Yeah, that's really unusual. A lot of the states that we work in, there is no registration requirement.
Mm-hmm. Especially for Tennessee, it's not the state you would have thought would jump on that bandwagon first, but here we are.
Yeah. And so if somebody's doing something like Botox and IV hydration and stuff like that, they would probably be considered a med spa.
Yeah, definitely, because you are altering tissue, especially for a cosmetic enhancement, which is a part of what they look at. Like, is this being performed to achieve an aesthetic result or a cosmetic enhancement of some kind to someone's appearance? So an injection is going to go into the skin. It's going to, if we're talking about Botox, it's going to temporarily paralyze those tissues. So that would absolutely fall into the category of medical cosmetic service.
Got it. And in Tennessee, how do you own a med spa?
In Tennessee, like a lot of other states, we have the corporate practice of medicine. So in Tennessee, you have to either be a physician or a physician in combination with a physician assistant. There are also some carve-outs for podiatrists and chiropractors who work with physicians, but there are also some exclusions. For example, you can have a physician who's co-owning with another physician as long as that other physician is not a pathologist, a radiologist, or an anesthesiologist. So it's kind of weird how they do it, but with respect to licensees of a lower level license, such as a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner, only physician assistants can co-own with a physician a medical practice. So unfortunately for NPs, which, we have so many nurse practitioners getting into the space, they still have to own it under the management services organization model.
Got it. So if somebody's an RN or an NP, they could still enter the space, but they would just need an MSO in Tennessee.
Yes, right. And there is, of course, a difference in a nursing practice and a medical practice. But again, everything that's going to happen in a med spa is going to be considered the practice of medicine to the Tennessee regulatory agencies. So that would effectively prohibit you from having a nursing company that offers those services.
Got it. Okay. And how do people have to be licensed in Tennessee for this kind of stuff?
Well, it kind of depends. So physicians can pretty much do anything. In Tennessee, they don't have to have a specialty in dermatology or any of those kinds of, niche areas that we sometimes see in states. And, physician assistants and nurse practitioners have a very broad scope of practice already, provided they're practicing pursuant to that collaborative practice agreement with their supervising physicians. But if we're going to look a little further down the line, for example, RNs are permitted to perform injections, whether that's, Botox, dermal fillers, et cetera, as long as it's delegated to them by the appropriate person, so an NPEPA physician. When it comes to things like lasers, there's a little bit of a distinction. So anything ablative, so, anything that's going to go in and damage that skin, rather than just heating it up, it's going to go in and damage the skin. You'd have to be a physician or an electrologist, or you can be a physician assistant practicing directly under a physician. When it comes to laser hair removal, NPs and PAs are allowed to do that on their own, but that's it. So it's kind of a patchwork coming together, I think, of like, what are we using this laser for? How are we going to classify it? And so that kind of makes the distinction between who can do what. So like laser tattoo removal, most likely you have to be a physician because you're going in and blasting out these tissues and these pigments and these things that are then going to drain through your lymphatic system. That's a pretty big deal. So you don't necessarily want somebody who doesn't have that training, that acumen, the experience and advice they get from their other physician colleagues to do those kinds of things. Of course, we hope that opens up and that it just becomes a matter of whether you're licensed as a healthcare provider and trained to use a laser, because I think in a lot of states that's sufficient. But for now in Tennessee, you have to be really careful with who is performing laser procedures. And
Got it.
specifically, yeah.
Got it. And I guess relative to the other states that you've seen, would you say like Tennessee's pretty easy to open a med spa in, or like middle of the road, or has a lot of requirements compared to other states, just based on your experience?
I think really the corporate practice of medicine is the thing that makes it difficult. And we could talk about that too, but that's really the biggest hurdle that Tennessee has. Of course, you do have to register as a medical spa. You have to have a medical director who registers that spa annually with the state. So it's not so much that it's more difficult in Tennessee as it is there are just more steps than a lot of other states. And Tennessee does heavily enforce the corporate practice of medicine prohibitions. So when you have that situation, that makes it more difficult in any state that you're in. But again, some states enforce more than others, and Tennessee is definitely one of those.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Well, this is super helpful. We try to keep these videos short so that people have a chance to listen to the whole thing. And if anyone has any questions, you guys can reach out to us. We're at lengealaw.com, and we offer free consultations on Zoom, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you, Mallory.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, everyone.